Okay. So, we're doing applications of piecewise functions today, and there's like two different types. Let's go ahead and put yesterday's assignment away. All the way away, so you're not even tempted. Put it all the way away. Gone. Thank you. Yep. All right. So we're doing applications of piecewise functions. There's two different ways they're typically written. So what I've done is I've come up with two scenarios where they're almost identical, but the wording is slightly different, so you guys can see how they might be worded, which makes them written in a different way, so that when we actually get to the worksheet, when they're written one way or the other, hopefully you can recognize it, because one way typically trips students up a little bit. And then I already know you probably didn't see this in Math 3, so unless you were in my class, and then you did see it in Math 3. All right, so first example, we have a bakery, Cake My Day. Has the following pricing for large orders of cupcakes. If 100 cupcakes or less are ordered, they cost $2 each. If more than 100 cupcakes but less than 250 cupcakes are ordered, they cost $1.75 each. And if more than 250 cupcakes are ordered, they cost $1.25 each. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw kind of like a number line situation so we can see what our different pieces are. So it's important whenever you're doing a story problem to think about what your actual logical numbers could be that you're using. So we're going to think about how many cupcakes we could order. Is it possible to have a negative number of cupcakes? No. So we're going to start at 0. It is possible you could order no cupcakes. But it's not possible that you could order -1, -2, -3. That's not possible. So the first kind of, piece, I guess, way that they could break up the numbers is 100. So I'm going to break it up with 100. And then the next number they break it up with is more than 100 but less than 250. So 250 is the next piece that they break it up with. And then it says 250 or more. So I'm just going to put an arrow here because then it doesn't really go to infinity. You can't have infinity cupcakes, but they didn't stop it at a specific number. So we're just going to say over 250, but to like a reasonable amount. So for the first bracket here, we have for 100 cupcakes, they are $2 each. For 100 to 250, they are $1.75 each. And then over here, they are $1.25 each. Okay. And then we also want to make sure that we define what our variables are. So are you guys okay with me using like X for the variable that we're plugging into the function? Is that cool? Okay. So if we use X as what we're plugging into the function, what do you guys think that X is going to represent? Okay, so the number of cupcakes you bought. Okay. And then do you guys want to use like f of x or g of x, or since it's called Cake My Day, we could use c of x? What do you guys want to name the function? F. Okay. So f of x. So once we plug in the input of x, what is the output going to represent? How much it's going to cost. Okay. How much it costs. And is it going to be the cost for 1 cupcake or 2 cupcakes? What do we mean by cost? For all the cupcakes. For all cupcakes. Okay. So sometimes defining your variables is going to be something silly in the problem. You're going to be like, duh, this is obviously what my variables mean. But sometimes defining your variables is actually going to help you when it comes to writing the problem. So sometimes it'll make a difference for understanding things well. So since we had these 3 ways of breaking up the problem, that means that our piecewise function is going to have 3 pieces to the problem. Does that make sense? 3 ways of breaking it up, 3 pieces. So I'm going to say f of x. I'm going to leave room for the 3 pieces. My first piece is $2 for, it says, each cupcake if we order less than 100. So how am I going to write that I'm paying $2 per cupcake? 2x, $2 per cupcake, if, and how do I write that it's if I have less than 100 cupcakes? Less than 100, but I can't just write it like that. Less than or equal to 100. If 100 or less are ordered, okay, 100 or less. This isn't quite correct because this implies I can have a negative number of cupcakes. I need a 0 on the other side. So whenever you're doing word problems, like story problems like this, you always have to do something in the math to specify that positive numbers are all that you get to use. Now, some people get really nitpicky about this. I am not one of them. Some people say you should have x is greater than 0 because who's going to go to a bakery and order 0 cupcakes if they're intending to order cupcakes? You shouldn't put equals 0 on there because that's silly. I don't care if you do or not. So you could leave this as 0 is the bottom and not put equal to, and I will give you full credit for that. Or you could put equal to, and I would give you full credit for that as well, because if you plug 0 into the function, it's going to make sense that you would pay $0. It also makes sense if you say you can't plug in 0 because if you're not going to buy cupcakes, you shouldn't be there to begin with. Does that make sense? So I'm good with it either way. You can put the equal to or not put the equal to. I'm fine. Oh, it froze. Okay, hang on.